the next learning moment that I'll give you, I'm going to give you a little tool. Kevin Davis, I love you, man. So great to see you. I'm going to give you a little tool, and that is discipline set up gamified. Gamify your discipline. I learned this from Yannick Silver. So Yannick does these little challenges with himself. For instance, no sugar for a month. And then at the end of the month, what you'll realize is, wait a minute, I feel great. Like, I can keep doing this. And you typically can go, you're not there for day 31st or day 32nd to just like plow the wedding cake. I mean, you literally at the day 30, you're like, hey, I like that. Let's go a little longer. Same thing with drinking. Same thing with like, you know, maybe carbs or fasting or workouts or running or cold calling or prospecting. You notice what I did there? You can gamify your disciplines so that you'll say for the next 14 days, some of the experts say don't overdo it, like do 14, 16-day stints and you'll have more success. Me, I go all in. I go for 30-day stints. And so here's what ends up happening. You develop habits. You've all heard after 28 days, you develop a habit, whatever. But you also, when you start stacking the habits, now you're talking next level shit. So work with me for a minute. We go 1 month, we're going to not drink. Then we're going to go another month and we're going to eat really healthy. Oh, and we're going to continue the not drinking. Then we're going to go the next month and now I'm going to work out every day this month, including not drinking, including eating healthy. And you just stack the new habits. That's next level shit. And you can do that in your business too. I want you to think for a minute, how can I translate that into my business? You can do it personally. You can do it for your health and wellness. You can do it mentally with mindful meditation and practices that you can do there. Deep reflection. You can just set the discipline. I'm going to do it for 16 days. So whoever's in for that challenge, let me know in the chat. I'm telling you right now, you pick it, whatever it is that you think you can do, just do it for 16 days. And on a happy hour after 16 days, let me know how that worked for you. And that is that second learning moment. You may not agree with me, but this is the Junior Entrepreneur Edition. This is the Junior Entrepreneur Edition because I guarantee he's half the age of the average person on this webinar today, including myself. This Junior Entrepreneur started working with a digital agency at the age of 23. He went on to sell 300 chiropractor clients to the tune of $2,000 per month. Plus ad spend, plus, right? And if you do the math on that, if you just, of course there's churn rate, but when you're bringing them on at 300 over the course of 2 years, you're bringing on more than you're losing. And if you do the math, $2,000 a month, 300 customers, $600,000 a month in revenue, 7.2 million or whatever it is per year. This man at the age of 23 to 25 accomplished that. And so his name is Omer Bloch. Great to have you on, bud. Thank you for joining us. I want to tell you guys a little bit more about Omer because you want to know what he's going to teach you today. He's going to teach you how to sell without being salesy at all. He's going to teach you the power of a personal brand that takes time to build. Many of you that have been coming on here, you know we've had maybe 4 branding experts. Our most recent one was our old, back in the .com days. Remember Gary Zendersky and branding. We all know how important branding is for our agencies as well as for our clients. So the more you can learn here, the better. The power of personal brand that takes time to build and follow-up strategies that helped him close over $1 million last year. So who's in for that? Who's ready? Light up the chat. Welcome our good guest, our junior entrepreneur, Omer Bloch. Thanks to my son Chase Snow and Kimberly Snow, who's on here today. There they are. They're currently running a successful agency. Many of you in the GoMobile community already know Chase and Kimberly. They're a part of mobile apps. They're a part of GoMobile Social. And they got the opportunity to meet Omer. And they said, Dad, you have to meet Omer. And so the team vetted out Omer and his story, and holy crap, they're like, how fast can we do this? And so Omer's here today. Omer, thank you so much for dedicating the time today. Say hi to the GoMobile community.
Normally, people like Kim and Kim, Chase, and Bryson, they have, they joined a program and they saw some of my videos and they get a little bit familiar with me, but most people here, I'm assuming almost all of you guys don't know who I am. So
I got their attention with 300 clients, basically. I mean, there's nobody on here that doesn't want to figure that shit out.
100%. And I want to take it back to that 3-year mark, because about 3.5 years ago, I was driving for Uber and for Lyft. I was a college student. I lived in Georgia. And unlike a lot of people, I did not come from an entrepreneurial background. Neither of my families are entrepreneurs. I'm originally from Israel. And for Jewish people, you're either a doctor, a lawyer, or failure. There's no plan C, right? So as soon as I went to school and I went to college, and I just felt I was not in the right place. I was not in the right place. I was wasting my time. I was wasting my money. And I told my parents this, but they kept forcing me to go to school. All their friends went to school. All their kids went to school. It was just like prohibited from day one. This is a must. Now, we're immigrants. So we immigrated from Israel. I'm actually from Jerusalem, Israel. My parents are from Russia. So we're even more old school than people think. It's not just like your typical Jewish American. I'm literally from Israel. So taking it back 3.5 years ago, I was driving for Uber and Lyft. I was, just your typical 21, 22-year-old kid, going out, having fun. But there's something that I always knew, that there's more out there. There's just more. There's more even for me. I don't care how old you are. Even if my parents put all the knowledge they have together and they're 53 and 51, I think they would keep destroyed in the business world. They just haven't. And I'll start it off there. But 3.5 years ago, driving for Uber and Lyft, one day I get a call from one of my close friends, Marcos, who actually was the CEO of Atlas Digital, which is the chiropractic agency. Now, Marcos and I met each other in network marketing. So for years, I had up until the age of 17, 18, I never had any intention of starting a business, no entrepreneurial, nothing. But then I got handed an energy drink, and I joined a network marketing called Verve. It was called Vima, actually, back in 2013. And that was like my initial entrance into entrepreneurship. It was like, whoa, all these kids are making money. And, back then, like making $500 a month, it blew my mind. And the biggest thing that I got from it, it's, a pyramid scheme, all that stuff, whatever. I was in it for years. The biggest thing I got from it is personal development. I was a kid that never read books. Now I'm reading like a book a week, basically. Shout out to Alex Murphy, great book here. And I got the relationship aspect, which is crazy because for 2 years, I made $600. And $3,000, but that's not the point, right? I knew that I was not gonna make money. My intention wasn't just to make money. I wanted to make the right connections. Thankfully, somehow, some way, I got in the same room as Marcos, and neither of us really benefited from each other back in network marketing. He was one team, I was on another team. And I ended up moving in with him a couple of years later, and man, that person changed my life. There's always that one person in everybody's life that is like the butterfly effect. I don't know if any of you guys seen the movie Butterfly Effect. I saw it recently with Ashton Kutcher. And I sat there and thought to myself, I'm 20, now I'm 26. There's been a couple butterfly effects for me. And the number one for me was moving from Israel to the US. What if I stayed in Israel? I'd be a completely different person. And number two was Marcos, right? If I did not meet Marcos, I don't know where I would be today. Like, genuinely say that. And thankfully, he took a chance on me multiple times. He took a chance on me to move in with him. He took a chance on me when he got me a job selling cars with him. But the biggest chance he took with me was when he started his digital marketing agency. They were doing about 20, 30K a month. Him and Joel Kaplan, who was business partner at the time. And for some reason, they thought they needed a salesperson. That was the thought in their head. They were doing 20 to 30,000 a month. They didn't have any systems in place. They had no scripts. They had no demo call. They had nothing. They had no appointments. But for some reason, they called me on a random Thursday night. I'll never forget. And they said, we need a salesperson. I laughed, I hung up, I called Marcus a couple days later. I was like, bro, I love you. Thank you for the offer. There's no way. And I literally closed that chapter. I was like, I just got a job at Whole Foods. I just paid for school. I'm ready this is my life. And as the week was going, I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, what if I do this? Like, what are the odds? What's the worst case scenario? I'm 22 years old. or 23 at the time. What if I just take a chance? And I was driving for Uber and Lyft, and I think one of the coolest parts, and I'm a really humble person, but I think one of the coolest parts I've ever done with Uber is I actually asked every passenger for about like 6 to 7 months for advice. I was like, hey, I'm 21, 22 years old. What's the best advice you have for me? So not only did I do that, I actually wrote a whole book and I gave them a journal, and I have over 100 people here that gave me like advice. And every single day I actually look at this. This is gonna be part of my biography one day. But there was one day when I asked these 3 random passengers in Georgia, I asked them, hey, I'm 23 years old. This is the situation. They offered me a sales job. I don't know what to do. I don't know anything about chiropractic. I don't know anything about Facebook ads. And all 3 of these people came from such different backgrounds. One of them was like an older lady. Another one was like a young high school kid. And all of them told me, you gotta do it. I called my best friend, you gotta do it. I called my sister, my little sister. She's 10 years younger than me. Shout out to Shani. She said, you gotta do it. So Friday night, I come home and I sit my parents down, and immediately my mom, again, being the Jewish Russian that she is, thought that I either got a girl pregnant, I'm going to jail. She thought the worst case. She's never an optimistic person. She thought I literally did the worst thing possible. She's like crying, and I didn't even say anything. I just told them, look, I got this opportunity, Marcos. I'm going to drive from Georgia to Colorado. The money that I have saved up, which is only like $100 to $200. And I'm gonna make this happen. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And they were trying to talk me out of it. I told them Friday night. Sunday morning, I was already on my way with $200 to my name, driving to Colorado with Marcos, who's a close friend of mine, and then Joel, who I only met one time. And the crazy part about this, I don't think Chase, Kim, or Bryson know about this, but when I moved there, I didn't even have a place to stay. I actually ended up, the first 2 weeks, I slept with in my best friend's minivan. He had a van, like a van life. So I slept in the same van with him that's really meant for one person. So we were squeezing in a bed together. Like he was a chef, I'm like this salesperson. And when I got there, I'm like, they literally had nothing, guys. They had no script, they had no list, they had nothing. They did not need a salesperson. If we were to go back 3.5 years ago, knowing what we know now, they should not have hired me. So that's just a little background. And the 300 chiros is crew. That's great. Like, that's amazing. That's great. But what people don't know, for the first 4 months, I made 0 sales. 0 sales. Now let me make it even crazier. Those first 4 months, I was on salary. I didn't have money. I told them, look, if you guys want me there, I need to get paid at least a base, at least some sort of a salary. So first month, I made $2,000. Second month, I made like $1,500. And then third month, I made $1,000. And this is in Boulder, Colorado, very expensive area, and no sales. It took me like 4.5 months to get my first sale, which was like a free trial, and then like kind of signed up sort of. And then come December, we started dabbling in paid ads, which I know a lot of you, I'm sure, are doing some sort of paid ads. If not, you know, we can get into it. And January, so I got there August 2018, August 13, 2018, I'll never forget that date. August 13, 2018, I get there to Boulder, Colorado. So August, September, October, November, I'm making 0 sales. Come December, started getting a little bit better at it. I'm starting to understand chiropractic. I'm starting to understand Facebook ads. I'm getting a gist of it. But January was the biggest pivotal moment of my sales career. It was when we started running ads, and Marcos and Joel sat me down. They said, hey man, look, we love you. We appreciate everything you've done. You've been working your ass off, but we're starting to run ads. We're starting to pay for paid advertising on Facebook ads. We're spending thousands of dollars a month. If you don't at least sell 6 people this month and bring at least $4,000 of revenue in 1 month, this is not like a crazy quota, we're gonna have to, part ways. And I remember looking myself in the mirror that day and being like, this is, I like so vividly remember this, Damien. I told myself, I will never make the drive back from Colorado to Georgia. Driving through Kansas was one of the worst drives of my life. That was like a weird motivating factor for me. I literally did not want to make that drive back. So come January, I sold, that same week I actually sold like 5 people, ended up selling like 15 chiropractors. And from January, which we were hovering around 40 to 50K a month. So remember, I joined Atlas at 20 to 30. January, we were only at 40 to 50. So we only grew by $10,000 with a salesperson in 5 months. Not good. From January 2019 till June 2019, we scaled from 50,000 a month to 250,000 a month with 1 sales rep, 2 founders, 1 account managers, and 2 or 3 virtual assistants. We have a team of 8 people. 250K a month at 40 to 50% profit margins. And I haven't looked back since. So that's like the little beginning. I don't want to keep rambling. I don't know if you have any questions, Damien.
No, I was going to inject one thing, and you got pushed up against the wall, and you solved that problem really quick. So, in parenting and actually, leading a company, leading salespeople, teaching and coaching resellers, that's the key. It's when you absolutely just, your back's up against the wall, you got to do it, you focused, you dug in, you did it. Then you realize you can repeat that, and you did.
Yeah.
At big levels. Hey, I see Greg from Detroit is on here, and since I got a shout out, since you put your camera on, the Steelers are going to beat your boys up this weekend, sir. We'll make that official. I called it today. Put all your money on it.
Love it.
Back to you, Omer.
Yes. So June we hit 250K a month, and while we were doing that, Joel Kaplan, who's one of the founders of Atlas, he was never really passionate by chiropractic. He used the chiropractic as a vehicle to get him to where he really wanted to do, which is coaching, which is now what he's doing. And I think a lot of you guys here, focus too much on the niche or on the product, on the services you're on, instead of looking at it as a vehicle to get you from place A to place B. Literally, that's it. And what's funny, I love chiropractors. So for me, working with them is a pleasure. I actually recently started working with them again on other projects that I'm doing. I've always liked the chiropractic circle. I've always liked that, Western medicine, whatever. So around the summer of 2019, Joel, being the person that he is, meaning he is a man of integrity, started slowly building a coaching program based on everything that we've done ourselves. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen a lot of coachings out there and coaching programs and all that stuff and mentors. Most people that I see out there, they scaled once, they scaled to 5K, 10K, 20K, and then they started a coaching program. The difference between us was that we literally scaled to 250K a month. We did over $2 million, really close to 3, like 2.8 in 2019 alone. And then based on every single system, everything you guys can think of, Joel took that and started a coaching program. At the time it was called 7-Figure Agency. And this was when I started dabbling in coaching, because it was just him, and he had a couple other employees. They were basically virtual assistants, and he needed someone like me to start coaching people on sales, right? I came from, as a salesperson that didn't have really almost no sales background, to selling, hundreds of chiropractors in 1 year. I had like a streak where we sold over 80 in like 2 months, which was absolutely insane for one salesperson. And that was like the entrance into the entrepreneur. To me, this was the entrance to entrepreneurs. Because at first I'm working with chiropractors, it's doctors. In my head, I'm like, do I really want to be the chiro guy? And I'll tell you guys one thing, biggest regret, and I'm sure I've told this to Bryson, Chase, and Kimberly, the biggest regret I have today when I was selling for Atlas Digital, the chiropractic agency, was that I did not build a personal brand back then. I waited until I joined Joel's coaching program officially to build that brand. And in my head, I probably lost on at least $100,000 in commissions alone, at least. I made over 200K, don't get me wrong, it's great. But I think I could have made a lot more just, building it up. Damien.
Question for you.
Yes.
When you sold an account for $2,000 a month as a salesperson, what was, and this is good for folks that are looking to hire salespeople, what was your commission that you were getting paid on all those deals? So the $7 million,
Yeah, great question. So it changed. I got lucky as, do not do this. The way I got paid, do not give this away, because I got very lucky. And for a year, I remember going out after the year, and Joel was like, he's also Jew, he's like, what, we've been paying you this much? And I was doing good. Like, it wasn't like they were freaking out. But when I first got started, the packages were $1,500 a month, plus ad spend. And I was getting $500 per sale. So I was getting 30% basically off each sale. But what's crazy is I was getting residual. So every time they were paying upfront, I was also getting 30% residually, which is bananas. Do not do that. Today, I believe you should do, it should be anywhere, obviously depends on your offer. I think anywhere between 15 to 25% is fair, and it should only be one time. Salespeople should not get residual unless they are dealing with clients after they get sold. If they are not dealing with clients after they get sold, they should not get residual income. And a lot of salespeople hate that. And I'm coming from, if I didn't have residual income, I would not have made half the money I made. But I also know that I'm different in a sense, so go for it.
Well, Amir, I'll take a different spin on that if you don't mind. I want to show some contrast on this.
Yes.
Because when we're in our masterminds, we get into these topics. Do me a favor, mute when I'm talking. There you go. When we get into these topics, what happens is, you don't want to overpay when it comes to residuals, because, and I've learned this by example. I've watched it happen. They start to get really comfortable. What we found out was that if a salesperson could make like $4,000 or $5,000 a month and they could pay their big fat car payment and put the watch on their wrist and dress real sharp, like they were good. They could party on the weekends and do what they wanted to do. I'm talking about the early 20-year-olds. And the reality is, if half of that's coming in passive income, or if 3/4 of that is coming in residuals to the tune of $500 a month per customer as you were bringing it on, yeah, what happens is they tend to get lazy. I mean, that's just sales management. The other thing is, you pay them upfront that 30% on deals that you provide the leads. This is what I always suggest. You give them a little incentive to bring their own deals. If they go get a guy out of the street, a guy or gal or whoever business owner out of the street, pay them more. Pay them 50%. So the more you pay them upfront, the less you have to pay them monthly. Now, I'm going to contrast what Omer is saying, and I'm going to say that we want to pay a little monthly, especially if you're in a service that bills monthly. You don't want them doing the customer service. You don't want them being on the front ends of that. You got to hire people for that or outsource that stuff. I know Omer also has that on lockdown. But the key is, if they're making just a little bit, like let's say on a $2,000 a month, if they were making $50 a month per deal, that's not excessive. But what starts to happen is it starts to add up, not excessively to put them into lazy mode, but it starts to create, write this down, what I call the golden handcuffs. Because your agreement with your 1099 independent contractor is that you're going to get this piece of residual provided that you remain employed, and you can also put a little proviso in there that you're meeting your quota. And so the other thing that you can do is you can look in a 2-week period. When you've met your quota, you get the residual. Any period you don't meet the quota, you just don't get paid that month. Every month you meet the quota, or every week you meet the quota, however you do it. So that's a little bit of contrast. So Omer, you were getting you were crushing it. You were laughing all the way to the bank. You were definitely overpaid in a big way when it comes to, paying monthly for what it is that we do as a digital marketer. Now I'm going to throw it back to you. So thank you for letting me highlight that a little bit. I'm going to throw it back to you, Omer. Tell us exactly what you were selling and break down that service, because people are interested in hearing about that you were charging $2,000 a month for.
Yeah, so we targeted one specific niche, which was chiropractic, specifically chiropractors that offer long-term care, not the chiropractors that you come in once or twice and then they never see you again. There are people that sign you up for long-term, it's called long-term treatment plans. And with one niche, we focused on one service, which was Facebook ads. With one service, we focused on one ad. One niche, one service, one ad.
Now, is there a theme? Let me interrupt for a sec. Is that a theme? Like, this is really like one service, one product, one ad, and that's by design.
Now, this was in 2018, 2019. I think today it's a little bit more complex, because after COVID, I think all these digital marketing agencies started, and everybody and their mom is a digital marketing agency now, right? Back in 2017, 2018, it was not nearly as saturated. So focusing on one niche, on one service, on one offer makes a lot of sense. The biggest reason is because you get very good at one thing. I didn't have to talk to chiropractors. I remember actually when I first got there to Atlas Digital, they did not focus on one niche. I had to talk to a chiropractor, then a dentist, then a stencil doctor. Then it was like, oh man, it was like, these are different humans. They're, even though they're all doctors, they're all so different on how they operate. So the package was $2,000 per month, plus between $500 to $1,000 on ad spend. So the $2,000 goes to management for us to actually run the ads, and $1,000 goes towards ads. It was usually right around $500 because we didn't want to overwhelm them with leads. And then it was month to month. So we didn't do contracts at the time. I think contracts are good today as well, but back then it was month to month. And our average retention at the peak was like 6 months. Obviously with COVID and, before we got like good account managers, it was probably about between 2 to 4 months. So at our peak though, the best we've ever been, when we hit, well over 300K a month, it was 6 months. And the process was a 2-call close. So I got on a call and I did an intro call, talking about their office, their problems, who they worked with. I had a whole script. Then I would book a demo call. Now I think if you're hiring a new salesperson or if you're new in sales, a 2-step process is perfect. It's very simple. Here's step 1, here's step 2. Now I've been doing this for years. I think if you are experienced in sales, I don't think doing 2 calls makes any sense. I think 1 call right there and then, just go for it and go through the intro call, discovery, get to know the person, and then pitch them and go from there. So I don't know if you had another question there, Damien.
No, I love it. I mean, I people that have balls to do 1 call close, I'm all over it. I mean,
I love it.
There's a little bit of a mix, right? Some folks, they got to take 1 or 2 calls just to kind of get warmed up and whatever. But I mean, once you've got that confidence and you really know your product, you're able to demonstrate the benefits. And obviously you do. You did it with success 300 times over. Why not take a crack at the first setting? Of course.
So what's funny is that the entire time I was at Atlas Digital selling chiropractors, it was 2-call close every single time because it worked so well. Why would I switch to something that's not that? Why would I switch it? But when I switched to the coaching program, we're selling a $10,000 package. I'm talking to more of a sophisticated buyer a lot of times. Then I think a 1-call close makes more sense. But you said something very, very important, and I wish I knew this back then, and I'm told about this, but I think it flies over most people's heads. Knowing the product, knowing what you sell, and most importantly, coming off like you are the niche. I think the best compliment I ever got wasn't like, wow, you're such a good salesman. That's not a really good compliment. It's like, the best compliment I ever got was, are you a chiropractor? They literally thought they were talking to a chiropractor. I was so relatable to them. They were like, whoa, I'm talking to someone that understands the problems. I feel like he cares about chiropractic as a whole. And I think that's huge.
I think that's huge too. What I would like is everybody to put their reason why focusing on a niche is important. Just light up the chat with your reason. What's your reason? We have a lot of folks in the GoMobile community, Omer, that like Katie Fletcher, for instance, and she's been on a lot of our calls. She calls it pick a horse and ride it, and she did with pet hotels, and churches, and now cannabis. But the whole point is that you get to really understand the pain points of the business. You get to understand the language of the business. And, if you're going to make marketing suggestions, you need to understand their business. And that obviously diving deep in a niche helps you do that. Yeah,
and
Robert,
that's
whatever. You become the expert for your clients by focusing on one niche. Absolutely, Robert.
Boom. And that's one of the topics I want to talk about, which was like the first bullet point. You asked me earlier, like, what are the 3 things? And the very first thing is selling, but not being a salesman. I think the term salesman is like so nasty. Like, I don't even tell people, when I even tell people I'm like, oh, I'm a salesman, I just feel like there's like this bad stigma of, they think that I'm a car salesman from like the 80s and all this bad stigma that comes with it, where how I view salesmanship. This is what changed my entire process and how I started this business I'm in now, and I've been able to sell the numbers I've been selling. Is I take Omer Bloch out of the picture. Omer Bloch doesn't matter what I like, where I'm from, what I am, who I am as a person. It literally doesn't matter. What matters is the person across from me, and I'm selling from your point of view. I'm literally putting myself in your shoes, exactly with where you're at. Where are you at with your practice? Where are you at with your business? And I'm literally sitting there and I'm like, okay, is joining what I'm about to sell him going to be the best investment for him, or is it going to be the best investment for me? And I think a lot of people, they get under pressure, they need to pay the bills, and they don't look at the other person. They look at the other person as a money bag instead of looking at them as building a relationship, is the bridge. We are just a bridge. That's all you are, right? When I was selling a coaching program, the agency is doing 10K, they want to get to 100K, I'm the bridge. When a chiropractor is seeing 50 patients a week, he wants to see 200 patients a week, I'm the bridge. That was every time. So I took myself out of it, and I literally, who I am, what I am, doesn't really matter. You matter 100%. So I put all my focus on the person, and I really built a relationship. And one of the things that I started doing, I do this now, and I did this, Chase, Kimberly, like all these people, I just feel like I'm your friend. Like if you walk into my house right now and I was to sell you whatever I need to sell you, it's from a friendship. It's like, I want to build something that's long-term. I want you to come back and send me referrals. I care so much about the relationship because I see it now, obviously 3 years later, but back then I saw it in a very minuscule part, which is why I said, I wish I went all in on my personal brand. I wish I became the chiropractic guy 3 years ago. I really did miss out on a lot of capital, but besides the point, the amount of referrals that I got sent on a regular basis, just for people having pleasant conversations with me, changed the entire business for me at one point. So that was huge.
You know what?
Yeah.
No regrets. You should have zero regrets, because what you learned, the industry you learned, the success that you had, the track history you have, the knowledge and wisdom you have now to mentor and coach. Are you kidding? Like, zero regrets. I love it. I mean, how inspiring is this for your children who are on here, who have adult children? For those of you that are on here who have adult children, raise their hands. I think I can raise my hand 7 times, right? So how inspiring is that, right? Love it, Omer.
I'll tell you what's funny is if you met me in person, how I am, like I said, how I am right now is how I am always. My parents did not believe in me at all. Like, I did not get support from them. It wasn't friendly. It was like a lot of backfired. My parents are very pessimistic, right? They didn't have support growing up. So then the lack of support came on me. So a lot of people are like, whoa, you probably had very supportive parents. I didn't. And that fueled me. I moved away 2 times. I left our house 2 times before I was the age of 21. Not because I wanted to live on my own, but because I knew I had to figure my stuff out. I have such a crazy relationship with them. I live in a different country. For those of you who don't know, I actually live in Medellin, Colombia. I'm literally in South America. But I do visit them and I do help my parents. One of the best things I ever did, I actually found the video the other day. The 3rd time I made a 5-figure check, I think I made $14,000 in a month. I went and bought my mom a $2,500 Louis Vuitton purse, which is incredible. But now she asks me for purses every single month, so it kind of backfires. I needed to like relax there. But if you do have older children, if you have someone at the age of 19, 20, anywhere between I think they're age of 16 to like 23, 24, and they don't know what they want to do yet. They have no direction, just support them. Just be in their corner, help them out. Like, I don't know how to explain that. I wish parents saw. I knew this. Everything that's happening to me right now, I knew this was gonna happen. I told them when I was broke and I had no direction, I'm gonna live in San Diego. I told them I'm gonna make money. I told them I'm gonna do all this stuff. They never believed in me. And now my mom shares all my Facebook posts. My mom is like bragging about me. It's hilarious because my goal, my ultimate mission is to retire her. I want to retire her. I have the Facebook posts written out. As soon as I retire her, she's gonna blast this to her friends, talking about how college is literally a complete scam. That being said, if your kids are in school, tell them to stay in school. Just for me, it did not make sense whatsoever. So anyways, we just went on a whole drift there.
Oh, it's good stuff. Love it.
I want to talk a little bit about personal branding because I know a lot of people, I'm sure you've had a lot of people on there, and it's not like I am like Justin Bieber with my personal brand, but I really did not see the impact of it for a long time because I thought personal branding, like you start focusing on it and you get results. Like you get leads, all that stuff. And I think that a personal branding should be a 1-year journey. You should literally, if you start today, November 12th, right? Today's November 12th. You start today and you start go over strategies that I'm doing and you give it 1 year of consistency, just 1 year. Wow. I mean, the amount of people that are going to be reaching out to you guys on a regular basis is insane. I have people reaching out to me that I don't even know. I don't even know where they are. I don't know. Like, it's crazy. I get business every day without asking for it. And it's all because I focus on personal branding. And for me, I honed in on where my audience is. My audience is on Facebook. So guess what? I go very hard on Facebook. I make postings and I make value posts. I make personal posts. I make funny posts. I try to relate with everyone. I see sometimes people, their brand is just business. Like all you are is business. You don't have that fun side. You don't show your family. You don't show like a cool side. Why would anybody want to work with you? If you go look at my Facebook, you'll see a valuable post. I post a question. I'll post whatever it is. I want to have all types of people. I have people hitting me up about like, a lot of times I post about UFC fights. I'm a big UFC fan. Football, go Colts. I hope Colts win the Super Bowl. Probably not, but I'm a big Colts fan. So I try to relate with so many different people because I don't want to just get just business people. I don't want that. I do want the sports people. I want the people that like comedy. And I want the people that whatever, like they have families and kids and my age and entrepreneurs and digital marketing agencies. that's why when you make content, you really want to focus on one or two platforms, even though I'm on a lot of them. I think Facebook, for me, it's Facebook and Instagram, but I try to be me as much as possible. If you click on my Instagram, you click on my Facebook, you have a pretty good gist of the person I am, what I like. And every day I commit on posting on my feed, on my stories. I try to make it valuable. I try to sometimes make it funny, whatever else. The biggest thing, I try to get reactions. Even if you just swipe up and you like, and that's it, I got a reaction. You're now paying attention to me. I have your attention. We are in the attention business. Marketing's attention, that's all it is. So if you just swipe and you like anything that I said, I now have you. I now can potentially come back to you eventually and start a conversation. It's not weird.
Just don't swipe right.
Yes. Say it again?
I said, just don't swipe right.
Yeah, don't swipe right, swipe left, yeah. I'm a lefty, so it makes sense.
That totally went over your head.
Are you talking about like Tinder?
I just went to a wedding. I was in a wedding. I was best man at a wedding for Michael Taggart. Many people know him as Michael X. It was in Lake Tahoe. And he, in his speech, he said, well, this is all because I swiped right. And so did she. Anyway, funny.
Amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. So if I was to go back 1 or 2 years ago, and let's say I was to go back, right? There's no regrets and everything worked out great, thank God. But if I was to go back and with chiropractic, I would have, instead of just posted cat memes and cat dogs and like all these funny videos, I would have started posting a lot more of the chiropractic results. We had over 200 clients. I never once posted any results. I never really interviewed people consistently. I had a couple interviews. I never really dove into the practice. I should have recorded myself going to get adjusted by a chiropractor that was signed up with us. And then I could have recorded and be like, oh my God, look at all these leads that we brought into their office. There were so many things I could have done and I never did it. All I was doing is posting funny videos, which was cool because I got the funny crowd, but then I don't have the business crowd. You do want the business crowd. You want a mix of it. So if I was to go back to 2018, 2019, I wish I went harder on chiropractic and on the personal brand that chiropractic brings, because a lot of them do spend time on Facebook and on Instagram, now on TikTok and YouTube. And that would have brought a whole other business. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting that you just say that. I think this is really good information for everybody on here who wonder if, you know, the various age groups are on the platforms. Like you mentioned TikTok. And what I just heard you say is the chiropractors are on Facebook and Instagram, and then you went on to even say TikTok. So that's a very, hearing from you're millennial, right? I think you're millennial, you're millennial.
26.
Right? Did I get that right? Okay. So hearing that, are you saying that the medical professionals, the chiropractors, the dental professionals, are they getting into some of these other platforms? Well, like Instagram first, and then TikTok and other things like that?
100%. I did not realize how powerful TikTok is until I started going on there and actually it's not like I'm getting a lot of traction. If you follow me on TikTok, I just started like a couple weeks ago. But when I follow business pages, I follow chiropractors on there a lot of times. Man, they're getting like 70, 80 comments. How do I get, there's some famous chiropractors on TikTok that post, videos of adjusting patients, educational videos. And there are people commenting on there, how do I make an appointment with you? I live in Louisiana and you're in California.
Okay,
so people are flying to see them.
So hold that thought, and I don't want everybody going down the rabbit hole and running to go figure out how to start doing TikTok videos right now, obviously with this. But what you just heard is very interesting, because if the chiropractors are using that platform in such a way that you can learn by witnessing, okay, again, you pick the niche. Now you go play on those platforms to see the businesses that choose to play on the platforms. What creative are they using? What engagement are they getting? What's getting people to say from Louisiana, how do I book with you? You're all the way over there. Like, understand those dynamics, and then teach that to your clients, right? So it's not necessarily your agency needs to figure out TikTok, but hey, if they're playing there, you can be a study of what they're doing.
Yeah, and I actually want to answer, this is a really good question here, because I just figured this out. Delroy asked, what tools do you use to manage all the media channels? How much are you delegating? And if so, how many channels? All that good stuff. Great. This is a great question, Delroy. Here's what I do. At the end of the day, I have literally on my calendar at 6:30 p.m., 6:30 to 7, it says TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I literally have to commit 30 minutes of creating some sort of content at the end of the day, whether it's for the same day or for the following day. And I literally will not take any sales calls. I won't take team calls. for 30 minutes, sometimes even an hour, I'm dedicating time to post videos if I haven't already. What I like to do is I have, journals and all that stuff. And a lot of times throughout the day, I get, questions, requests, whatever else. And I will literally journal it. And I'm like, I'm going to make a video about this. And I think I'm going to call a lot of you guys out right now. And it's not from a place of like, bad. I want to call you out from a place of love. A lot of you guys cannot make content because you don't know about your niche. You don't know anything about it. So you're sitting there like, I don't know what content to make. That tells me that you're not really all in on your niche, right? Back in 2018, probably could not have made any chiropractic videos. But then 2019, a year later, man, I started going to the chiropractor. I started seeing them a lot more, started coaching them, all that stuff. I could have definitely made content on them.
Omer, what's your take on curation?
What's my take on
curation? Where you get inspired by other stuff that it indicate, the indication is that maybe the stuff is working and you make it your own, meaning you don't plagiarize it, you don't steal it, but you curate to, what's your take on that?
I think my life is a curation. I think where I am today because of curation, personal development. I mean, I'm reading a book, right? Just every book I read, I'm like, especially when it's an educational book, right? What's one thing? I just need to take away one thing. There's 500 pages here. I'm not going to take 500 things away. I just need to take one thing today that I can implement. So curation is huge. So for me, I follow a lot of the motivational, Tony Robbins, whatever. But then where I get most of my curation is from the industry we're in, to seeing what the struggles are, where people are having pain. Especially, looking back when I was working with chiropractors, like most of them have a very hard time selling their own services. They're so good at adjusting patients. They're so good at providing value, but they just cannot sell a treatment plan. They just can't because they did not go to school for sales. They're not very salesy. They did not invest into any salesmanship courses, Grant Cardone, whatever, blah blah blah. They just didn't. They never did. So I know what I witnessed, and this is what we built and helped them build, is like making chiropractors better salespeople. And how we did that is not just me teaching them, because I'm not a chiropractor, is bringing on a chiropractor on board that's crushing it with us and having him teach other chiropractors how to sell. So curation is everything for me. It's yeah.
Excellent. Great question. Great answer to that question. Kevin also put in here something very helpful. Quora is also another good place to get ideas of what content to make, and then SEM Rush in here. So if you guys want to grab this chat, you guys know how to save this chat. So as we post stuff in there, that's why I wanted everybody engaging with their reasons to pick a niche. If you guys can take the chat with you. So just a little reminder there.
And then Kevin has his hand.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to circle back around on TikTok and stuff, just this morning, I have a life insurance agent client of mine that was asking me about running ads on TikTok because she has two books. One is she has two niches that she focuses on: farming people and then blue collar service people like plumbers, electricians, etc. like that. And the blue collar people are the ones that she sees on TikTok and know that they're just scrolling through looking to be entertained and stuff. And that's where we're going to start running her video ads on TikTok to get into that market. They're not, what she's getting for that market on Facebook is kind of more broke people, where her system is to build wealth through whole life insurance and infinite banking. And so she needs to find the people that are successful and making a lot of money in those markets and running a successful business instead of the ones just trying to figure out how to get free money.
What demographic are you now seeing on TikTok, Kevin? Like age-wise?
It's very varied, and really, because we talked about it, because like with her, I mean, everyone, the thing that she likes about TikTok also is she's only seeing content that she really likes. Once you start doing the likes and engaging with the content, your feed is very much what like Facebook used to be. And we're moving a lot of traffic off of the Facebook. I have an e-commerce tactical client out in New York right now that Facebook just in the last 3 weeks popped back up and starting to convert again with a concealed carry audience and the cop audience, because we're going into the winter months. They're buying the Equinox base levels, and then they have a vest, cooling vest that normally is a summer product last winter. We had them create specific product for our specific videos for the winter months because it prevents you sweating, which then prevents that sweat from freezing in the cold climates when it's under a protective vest. And that boosted their sales there. That's about a $1.5 million e-commerce business in the tactical niche that we're running ads for now too.
That is very fascinating about the demographic you're seeing on that TikTok. I wouldn't have thought the blue collar, for instance, the successful one, though. Scrolling for entertainment makes sense, right?
Yes.
Like Facebook's boring as
Right.
compared to TikTok crazy videos.
And that was an interesting thing with the tactical stuff when the election was going on earlier in the year and the different riots and different things like that and people getting off of Facebook. We started advertising through Google Display Network, running ads on Parler itself. So Parler doesn't have its own ad platform, but you can target Parler.com through the ad network on Google to actually show ads there as well, because that's where their market was.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I want to add to that, Kevin, because TikTok is so powerful, but it's too powerful. So if you've never had TikTok and you start getting on TikTok, it is you can literally spend hours just scrolling through videos because they
Unless you have shit to do.
Of course.
I started on that.
At night.
My 84-year-old father-in-law is on TikTok, scrolling through videos at 3 a.m. when he can't sleep.
Literally, my point, because TikTok took what Vine was around back in 2013, 2014, and they were like, watch, we're gonna make this so much better. You guys had an opportunity and you messed up, and then this is where TikTok is now. But I wanna finish up Delroy's answer, my answer for Delroy. So like, I commit every single day to 30 minutes to an hour of time of content. And I think the people that I've been surrounded with, the highest paid entrepreneurs, the 8-figure entrepreneurs that I've seen, they commit their weekends. They literally spend Saturday and Sunday, they hire a videographer, a video editor to follow them around. Sometimes they follow them every day, but especially on the weekends. And they shoot hours of content on the weekend instead of, doing other stuff. I know a lot of you guys have families and all that stuff, so I get it. But most of my friends don't have kids or anything like that to do. They do have the time to do it. And I think if you just commit 30 minutes a day to a Facebook post, to Instagram, to TikTok, just pick 2. You don't have to pick every single thing. It could be YouTube. And what's cool, what I'm doing right now, before I start really focusing on one platform at a time, is I just redistribute videos. I focus on Instagram and Facebook, and then I take those and I put it on TikTok and I put it on YouTube Shorts, right? So I'm not like creating hundreds of different videos a day, but I'm just redistributing it. I just want to put my name out there right now. Let me just get in the rhythm of posting a YouTube video, posting on Instagram, posting on Facebook, stories, TikTok. That's a lot. That's 5 platforms. If you can just do Instagram and Facebook, if you can just do, let me take it back. If you can just do where your audience is at. So let's just say your audience is not on Instagram. Okay, then go to another platform. I'm sure a lot of them are on Facebook. It could be on YouTube. Figure out, this is one of the things that you have to figure out with your niche. Where are they? Where are they located? Where are they hanging out? Because after hours, most people are on social media. Most people are scrolling through the feed. They're getting targeted by ads, whatever the case is. And that's part of the thing that you want to do when you research your niche, not just knowing the market and who they sell and what they sell. Where are they? Where are they located at most of the time? So I think that's super important. Hopefully that makes sense, Delroy. So we covered salesmanship, we covered follow-up. I want to do one more thing, and I think this is, I just had it and it floated in my head. Oh yes, follow-up. If you know, I don't know for Jason jumping really good. I want to see him smiling. Okay, if you know me, and if you've been ever told by me, you know I am a freaking, I literally told someone today, when it comes to follow-up, I'm mentally ill. Meaning I don't know what's normal. I don't know. I'll give you guys an example. Here's a perfect example. I walk the talk. On Saturday, I had a call with this gentleman in Dubai, selling him one of the things that I'm working on selling. Didn't close him on the call. It felt like a great connection. I felt like everything was good. I told him, okay, let's talk Monday. Come Monday, I hit him up, doesn't answer. Okay, come Tuesday, I hit him up, doesn't answer. So you guys can see this, and this is not even aggressive, by the way, this is not even bad. I'm literally messaging here. I'm like, look, man, I have a team of VAs. I will open up, I will cease fire. And then I like to do a lot of memes. This is a great one. This gets a lot of responses a lot of times. And then I have like a picture of me. I send him a voice chat. And guess what? Next week, I'm going to hit him up again. Next week, I'm going to switch my strategy. Next week, I'm going to switch my number. and I'm gonna call them from a completely different number. So first, and I'm gonna go over my strategy here. Obviously the goal is to close people on the call. I'm doing everything in my power to close someone on the call, collect some sort of a commitment. One of the things that I like to do when I feel like someone's super committed, they're into it, but they're just not in yet. They need a little bit of time, because what I don't want to happen is buyer's remorse, refund the next day. What I like to do, I'm like, okay, no worries at all. How about instead of you just committing nothing, we're gonna start working on your campaign. We're gonna start working on your services, whatever you guys sell, for a very small deposit. So I take a very small deposit, $100, $200, and we're just gonna start building everything up. Take time, you can go talk to other people. I can give you references to talk to, but at least you commit something to me so I know you're actually real. And then from there on, we'll go from there. And I actually have a perfect script of pitching a deposit. And my close rate with deposits, once they put a deposit, I like an 80 to 90% close rate. If you commit anything to me, you're going to commit more. The hardest part is just to get your credit card over the phone. So it doesn't even have to be $100, it can be $50. But just getting that credit card over the phone from someone that's never heard about you before, you came from an ad, organic referral, they don't really know you on a personal level, but for them to hand you their credit card information, it's like a huge commitment. So I like to pitch deposits, but let's just say I came to pitch a deposit and they're talking to a lot of other companies that have been burnt a lot of times, all that good stuff. Totally get it. Look, I get it. I've been in your shoes, 100% understandable. So here's what we're gonna do. I was to ask them, how much time do you actually need in order to make a decision? They tell me, oh, I need a week. Like, do you normally take a week does it normally take you a week to make decisions? Yeah, I would say so. Got it. When you pitch your services, when you pitch chiropractic, when you pitch marketing, how long, when someone tells you that it takes them a week, what do you normally tell them? You say, oh yeah, a week is fine. Yeah, I tell them a week's fine. Okay, cool. So in my head, I'm like, okay, this guy definitely needs, if we work together, I need to coach this person on sales, because this is a magic word right here, a magic sentence. How you buy things, a lot of times reflects on how you sell things. How you buy things, normally, a lot of times reflects on how you sell things. So if you're always a person that takes weeks to make decisions, if you see something perfect, but you're always like hesitant, that same energy, that same vibe you give off, you're giving that same vibe when you're selling. And then you're surprised, well, I can't close people on the call, right? So I tell them this, I'm like, look, you're not buying a house, you're not buying a car. It's $2,000 a month it's an investment. Everything else that you buy that is this expensive, normally is not an investment, a lot of the times, right? So my goal is to go from a week, if they tell me a week, my goal is to make it between up to 72 hours. Normally within 1 or 2 days is what I aim for. They say, okay, reach back out to me after a day. So most people just hang up the call. On the call, I'm literally sharing my screen. I go to the Google Calendar. I send him an invitation that says touching base with Damian Zamora, Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Like, Damian, did you get that invitation? Cool, go ahead and accept that invitation on the call. Awesome, while I have you on the call, let me go ahead and add you on Facebook. I actually communicate with a lot of people on Facebook. So I go ahead on the call, send them a friend request, and they accept it, perfect. Send them a friend request, now they get not only do I have their phone number, I'm also friends with them on Facebook, okay? Now, they accept an invitation, I got their Facebook request, perfect. Now I'm like, awesome, Damian, any last questions, concerns? Perfect. So Thursday, 2:30, we're gonna touch base, right? Awesome. Okay, again, most salespeople, what they do is they wait until Thursday to hit up Damian. What does Omer do? Omer, late in the night, sends Damian a video recording. Hey Damian, thank you so much for your time earlier. I really appreciate you, giving me the 45 minutes of your day, going over everything that we offer, and I know you needed some time. And then I go over their objections. I literally will go over their objections. I know you need to talk to somebody else. I know you need to talk to your wife, whatever their objections are. Right there and then, I go over their objections and I send them the recording. And what I've tested this out so many times, guys, if they do not respond to that video, very low chance they're gonna close. That's just the reality of things. I'm not gonna say they're not gonna close, very low chances. But if they do respond and they conversate with me after the call, oh boy, now we're friends. You no longer see me as a salesperson. You see me as someone that's messaging on Facebook and we're just having conversation. So come Thursday when I hit you up, hey Damian, we have a call coming up at 2:30 today. I'm super excited to connect. That he's either gonna like the call, he's gonna like it, or he's gonna see it, he's not gonna say anything. So when he sees any, this is why I like Facebook Messenger so much, because on text, if they don't have read receipts on, I have no idea if you saw it or not. But on Facebook, I can see your live, I can see where you're posting, I can see your stories, right? And the cool part is, let's say come 2:30, you ghost me, No worries. Okay, cool. I'm gonna call you a couple times and I'll go over my strategy when people ghost me, but I'm not following you. So now I see what you're posting. You're making a comment. Guess what? I'm gonna go to one of your pictures that you just posted a couple days ago. Hey, Damien, I shot you a message. And I literally will say this. Everybody's commenting, oh my God, your family is so beautiful. Hey, Damien, check your Facebook messages. I've said that before. Depends on the relationship you have with the person. So you can be aggressive. There's no like magic formula in this. You want to be aggressive as the person lets you be. So don't be too aggressive. Don't comment on every one of their pictures. But if I know this person knows what I'm doing, I'm going to be pretty aggressive. And you can ask Chase and Kimberly. I have literally made Facebook posts about people that ghost me and posted in a group. I'm like, hey, has anybody seen Roman? I cannot get a hold of him. I did that. Do you think I'm kidding? You guys think I'm kidding? Just so you guys see this. This is not even a joke. I'm not even kidding. I wanted to provide some crazy value to you guys that has been helping me out. This guy right here, Roman, shout out to Roman, made a whole Facebook post about him. I got like 70 comments, people hitting him up. People like, I can't believe you would do that. Anybody's gonna say? Message to me Thursday at 10:05 p.m. at night. Hey, Omer, hope you're doing great. We'll have the money next month, working with a local attorney, preparing contracts and everything. Once ready, sign and start. So people always say the magic's in the follow-up. But if the magic's in follow-up, why are people not following up? And why are people not aggressive on following up? So there's a little bit more to this, Damien, but I don't know if you wanted to intervene here.
Keep going, rock and roll. This is
okay.
fire.
So let's say people are ghosting me, because the number one thing with ghosters, I think, is that they just go cold feet. But I don't know that. In my head, I think something tragic happened. I'm like, you ghosted me? Wow. After the conversation we had, you opened up to me. Maybe I opened up to you. You just ghosted. Would you ever call someone close? And maybe your friend is not going to answer your phone, but they're going to call you back, right? They're not just going to never call you back. Otherwise, they're not really your friend. So in my head, I'm like, something tragic must have happened. Like literally the worst case scenario. So I don't hit him up. Hey, Damien, you ready to get started? Hey, Damien, we're ready to help you out. Hey, Damien, my message every single time, this is, you guys, I want you guys to try this. I have a very high success rate with this. It's, hey, Damien, is everything okay? ? That's it. Hey, Damien, is everything okay? It's not, hey, are you getting cold feet? Oh my God, I have this other person in your area. Hey, name, is everything okay? Okay? Let's say they don't respond to this. I'm just gonna go through worst case scenarios every time. By the way, most people will respond to that. Yeah, I'm totally fine, blah, blah, blah. They'll give you an excuse. Let's say they don't respond to this. So I came up with another solution. I'm like, all right, bet. Maybe they don't see my they don't see my number because, whatever else the case is. I have an app, which, if you guys have an iPhone, I believe this is on Android too. It's called, you guys can all have this, especially if you're in the US. It's called Text Now. This app is essentially a free phone service. I have no idea how they make money. I have no idea what they do, but it's called Text Now. They literally give you a brand new cell phone number. They give you a cell phone number. They give you, you can text on there. So I get that number, and I believe the area code is up to your, it's up to your area where you're located at. So when I got it, my area code is 619. I lived in San Diego last year, so it's 619. Instead of texting him, well, here's what most people do. Hey, Damien, this is Omer from Atlas Digital. We had a call earlier. This is a different number. I'm trying to get a hold of you. This is what they say. Or sometimes you do this from the same number that you texted. Hey, Damien, this is blah, 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 blah. You know what I text them? With a brand new number. They have no idea. This is 619. They don't know who I am. Then this is the right number. Ready? First name, ? Damien, John, Sam, Christine, Sonia, William, Richard, I don't care. Just first name, ? I have literally 100% response rate on that. Because they're like, who is this? ? So now in my head, I'm like, oh, you're responding to this text, but you're not responding to my text. So there's something going on. Here's what most salespeople do. They get flustered and they get frustrated, and the frustration comes on the call. Damien, man, I try to get a hold of you. It's been 2 weeks. Like, what's going on? I come off, like I said earlier, concerned. Hey, Damien, we talked. Everything sounded great. Like, is everything okay? Like, I'm concerned. I was actually to the point where I thought I had to call 911 paramedics to like look for a potential body missing. I couldn't believe you're literally missing. I don't know. I didn't know how else to get a hold of you. I was so concerned. I don't even care about the sale. At this point, I'm like, honestly, I don't even care about the sale, whether you do this or not. I just want to make sure you're okay. That message, I promise you, no salesperson does that. Because most salespeople, they just call for the sale and then they never talk to them again. So to me, what I care about is I want them to know that I actually care about them. Well, most people care about just the sale. They're like, oh, I care about you if you pay me. But if you don't pay me, I don't care about you. This is why I add every person on my social media, because I get to follow up with them. So when I follow up with them in 2, 3, 4, 5 months, it's not weird. I talked to you a few months ago. Hey, Damien, we talked a couple months ago. How's it going since we last chatted? Hey, Damien, I see you, you're out with your family in Costa Rica. Wow, that's so awesome. I want to go there. Now, instead of just selling them, I'm actually building relationships with every person that comes from my messenger. I get to see them on Facebook. I get to see their family. They get to see mine. I see what they're liking. They might put, and now when I have to sell them again, when they come back to me, because they do, if you have good service, they're going to come back. It is the easiest sale you're ever going to make because they're bought on you. And most people try to sell their services before selling themselves. And when you try to sell your services, and all you do is you push your service and your product and this, and you don't have a personality that people want to work with, it's very hard for them to be able to relate. Every person, just so you guys know, this is what I've come. This is the theory in my head. I might be wrong about this in 26, so you guys can tell me. But I believe if anybody ever wants to do business with me, they want to do business with me for life. That's what I think. When he handed me $1,000, $2,000, I'm thinking, how can I do business with this person for life? He trusted me with $1,000. What if I create something insane and I sell it for $10,000? Well, he's handing me $1,000. Maybe he can hand me $10,000 to $20,000. So this is why I value relationships so much. And if you guys looked at my Facebook Messenger, it's not me pitching. It's still me building relationships and commenting on pictures. This is not, sometimes I spend time at night just going through stories and seeing what people are doing. I'm like, whoa, you're in Costa Rica. Whoa, you're traveling. Whoa, you're in crypto. Whoa, you're doing this. And I'm like, dude, I haven't talked to this person since March. And now when I'm hitting him up, it's not weird because we've talked before. But a lot of you guys just hit up people randomly and it's cold organic and whatever, it's a mess. But anyways,
let me add some emphasis because, first of all, you have an omnipresence follow-up process. You're hitting on multiple platforms. Now, there's going to be folks that are on this call now. Think about his responses, his questions, his texts, his chats, his Joe ? And then also think about your own style and personality, right? And I think, Omer made a very, very valid point, which was, you're going to understand the relationship with the particular individual. You're going to know whether it's ADD doctor or it's the super calm lawyer or it's the, you're going to get who you're prospecting and you're going to know what much is much or what is what. Develop the strategies that he is giving you, develop your version of them with your style. I'll tell you what, these are super effective. I'm hearing these and I'm like, I hope everybody's writing these down or getting these. I'm trying to write some of them in the chat, but these are super effective. And you know what? The money is in the follow-up because even when you're good as you are now and you're able to do one call closes, the reality is they don't all one call close. And it's just simple follow-up. What I love about reaching out for care is everything okay? Are you okay? Because if it gets a question of well, we had a great conversation. Obviously there's something on it. So it's not like you're too off the reservation here asking if everything's okay. And so by doing that, you're leading with empathy, right? And so they're going to feel like an ass by not responding now because you're not calling about, hey, what did you think about the proposal? Or have you put some more thought to what we talked about? It's like, hey, is everything okay? Now, sure, some of you on here may hear that and go, I don't know if that's me. That's fine. That part might not be you. Maybe you just need a version of it. And you lead with empathy. And like Chase put here in the chat, they literally had someone that closed them and says, I went with you because you showed you cared. So there's another thing that's going on there when it's not just about the transaction and it's legitimately about the relationship. Now, you're doing something a little more that takes a lot of effort. And that is, you're literally every once in a while commenting on a post and you're hitting them up on social media and things like that. Some people are going to be cool with that. Some people won't. But, hey, you're just reading your landscape. What I love about you, Omer, is you're just, you don't have to sit there and overanalyze things. You're getting after it and you're trying stuff. And what you're teaching today is the stuff that's working for you. So this is great. I've got personal chats hitting me up. I've got people in Slack. My team is back and forth how awesome this session has been so far. So loving this stuff. What else do you want to tee up? I do have a lightning round I have to take you through. before we get off. But what else would you like to throw out?
So the biggest thing about this industry is what I've noticed is it's so easy to talk. It's so easy to talk. It's so easy to say, "Ooh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this." And even in personal life, you were talking about discipline. So fun story. I got challenged to run 2 miles every single day, or I have to pay this guy $1,000. So I'm on day 2. In my head, I'm like, man, I don't want to pay this person $1,000. So discipline is everything. And every day every day I wake up, honestly, I just think about this 2 mile run. Like, I'm just thinking like, I just have to get this 2 mile run out of the way. So you're right. Discipline is everything. So let me show you guys what I did before social media, like 20 years ago. What I did before I started leveraging social media. So when I used to close chiropractors, you guys can see this on here. I used to add every single one of them on my cell phone right after. I'm like, hey, Dr. Steve, what's your cell phone number? Boom. Whether they close or not, I'm texting them. What happened, you don't want to give your personal number away to everybody. That's a little bit too much, I feel like. Because Instagram and Facebook, you can kind of turn it off and then come back into it. But I took that same strategy and I started implementing with social media. So someone asked a question here. It was a really good question. I want to answer Christine. She says, did you add all those people to social media and continue to nurture? Yes. So for me, Facebook, I noticed that chiropractors or agency owners, the people that I'm dealing with, almost all of them are on Facebook. So I added every single one of them on Facebook. I didn't send them a friend request. I made sure that they accepted my request. Because if you just send a friend request and they don't accept it, your messages are not getting delivered to their inbox. It gets delivered to their spam. That's an extra step they have to take, and they don't even know what that is. So that's why it's so important for them to accept a friend request on the call.
So hold on. Let me make sure we get this. So when typically, like for instance, LinkedIn, it's like a no-no just to send a LinkedIn request without some context or a message. But you're saying complete opposite on Facebook because of that extra step that goes in that little hidden box that some people don't even know exists. So instead, in this case, just add friend.
Just add as a friend and then send them a message later tonight. If you add me as a friend, great. I'll make a note and come back to it. And I actually missed something very important, Damien, and you touched on it, and I want to go a little bit deeper on this. It's so important to take notes on the sales call, right? I'm assuming all you guys are doing it. I used to write it down, and then my hand, I write like a doctor, so I go back, I'm like, I don't even know what I wrote. So then what I started using for me, it works really well as notes on my phone, and I can just write my notes, and then I can go back, and it's so much easier. Doesn't matter how you do it, just doing it. But what's important is catching the things that a lot of these people don't want to open up on. What I mean by that, a lot of times they just mention something. Yeah, my son's having some problems. And I'm not gonna go, what are your problems? You know what I mean? Oh, you have kids? How many kids you have? Yeah, I have 3 kids, 2 in college, gotta pay their tuition, blah, blah, blah. In my head, I'm like, oh, okay, this is his why. Like, this is his why. A lot of people are like, and I used to ask this is the most cringy question in my opinion. What's your why? Why do you want to build a business? I personally hate that question. Just like you said, Damien, that question did not work for me. What works for me is listening to what they're saying. And if they don't open up, they don't ever mention their family, they don't ever mention anything, I'm like, okay. So let's just say we take you from seeing 50 patients a week to 200 patients a week, right? You're making, $50,000 a month, more money than you've ever made in your life. Are you the kind of person that's going to go buy Lamborghinis or Ferraris? Or like, what are you going to do with all this money? Very nonchalant. That was my why question. What are you going to do with all this money you're making? You're going to travel, you're going to buy houses and mansions and watches and Rolexes. What are you going to do? And then they're going to be like, oh, college tuition. Oh, I got to pay my debt. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, my mom's sick. My dad is sick. My kid is sick, whatever. Then I'm like, this is the biggest reason I'm going to help them out. This is it. If I can help them just achieve this, we're in business for life. So that one thing that they tell me, I come back later on the Facebook Messenger. How are your kids doing? Hey, Damien, how are your kids? How's your family? Right? I see you in Costa Rica. I'm open. Now it's a conversation, like it's a friendly conversation. It is no more sales. I'm not a salesperson. They don't view me. And I said this earlier, I'll say it again. When you do that and you're building these relationships with people over social media where you can see their life, this is so much better than texting. If I can go back, I wish I did not take any of their numbers down. I wish I added them all on Facebook or Instagram where I can see them. I can see their family. They can see me. They can see my family. At that point, wow, like I'm exposing my entire life on social media. We're friends. So when people say friend request, like that is a friend. Every person that's on my Facebook friend, I think I have like 3,000 friends, whatever, I see them as a friend. If I added you as a friend, I can see everything that you're doing, especially if you're active on Facebook.
Well, another thing I want to point out that is really, hold on your end, let's get feedback there. The other thing that's really cool here is that you pick up on clues. Some people might call it stalking, whatever, just let's be positive about what's happening here. I want to get to know this chiropractor. And if I know that he likes the Steelers, and I know that I'm really talking to him about a $5,000 per month retainer here, that's pretty serious business. Last time I checked, that's a 5-figure annual commitment here. And we probably have a lot more to go from there. And so does it make sense to surprise him with some lumpy mail of a Steelers jersey? It doesn't even have to be signed. Like literally by being able to just, not stock too heavily, but just pick up a couple little clues on LinkedIn, on Facebook, a couple things what they're into, you can send some lumpy mail and get some attention. Again, we're not selling $20 websites. We're selling thousands of dollars per month retainers here. Back to you, Omer.
How do you like your tequila, Damien?
Oh, yes. Good point. This man, I had one of the best bottles of tequila ever that anybody's ever given me. Came from this man right here. And I've saved a little bit of it, and I'm refused to drink the last bit of it because I want to see what it tastes like in 100 years.
I love it. Christine, you asked, is it ever business or anything? Honestly, I'm going to start using LinkedIn a lot more. But what I've noticed is Facebook and Instagram. This is where people really show their life. On LinkedIn, you're not going to post family stuff, and maybe, but I'm on LinkedIn now and I'm scrolling. It's all business. It's 99% business. Facebook, man, I have some business partners, Damien, that make, upwards of $500K to $1 million a month. They don't post a single thing about business. All their Facebook and Instagram is personal. You would never know that these guys are making the amount of money they're making. It's because they use that social media is different. So, Christine, it's always personal. I never add their business. You can. I'm not saying that's a bad suggestion. That's figure out where are they located at. What are they using? So they're using their personal. They're using their business page more than personal. Then use their business more than personal.
Well, and think about the time of the era where we are in society today, right? So people today do business based on recommendations, based on reviews, based on knowing who's behind the brand. You know what? It's no longer doing business with the logo. They want to do business with the human that runs the company. Not saying that the owner of like Zuckerberg's getting on the phone with folks. The point being is people want to connect with the brand. So when we're looking at someone that wants to be looked at as the marketing agency of record for that's gonna happen much more organically when it's a relationship type thing. It's not Omer's brand, the agency. It's really, I'm choosing Omer for my marketing. Yeah, their track history, that's all over their website, and their logo looks great and all that stuff's on there, and that's great. There's credibility, screams of credibility, but I'm buying Omer. And, as a digital agency owner, they're buying you, Darius, out there in Australia, mate. They're buying you. Okay, David Arnold. If you want to go after more golf courses because you are a passionate golfer, because you are a member of said golf course, because you're a mobile app expert, you know what? It's going to be you that they're going to like. And so I love these strategies, Omer, because what you're doing is Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, they've already created the platforms for us to do this in a very easy way. It doesn't have to be, right? They have provided
100%. And I'm going to give you guys a couple more strategies here, and then maybe there's a Q&A or whatever else. But it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys for being on here. It's 70 people. You said it's going to be 40 to 50, and almost double the amount of people that were on here.
I always under promise and over deliver, my friend.
Yes, I appreciate it. So COVID obviously is a negative impact. It impacted people. Even if your business blew up, it's impacted the world in a negative way, no matter what. If your business went from $0 to $1 million a month, COVID did not do a good thing. Like, we should not hope another COVID exists, right? But what it did do is a topic conversation. That is one thing you can do every time. When I would do it today still. Today's maybe is not as powerful as it was before, but it's probably going to make a return. I think that's what people are claiming around the newscaster. If that happens, every single time I get on the phone, I'm like, and especially if it's a more brick and mortar business, I'm asking them, man, with COVID being impacted, around for the last couple of years, how's it impacted your business? How's it been? Like, did you get COVID? Like, you have to get very specific with it, but that was the topic conversation. Another thing you just mentioned, Damien, is football. Every single time, I talked to someone that lived in a city or state that had a football team, I would mention it. Oh, you're in Jacksonville? Yikes. Oh, you're in Pittsburgh? Bigger yikes. No, I'm just kidding. You're in Indianapolis. Oh my God, you're a Colts fan. Oh, you're in Wisconsin. You're this. Always the topic of conversation. And I learned this from Joel Belford. I remember I took his straight line persuasion course, whatever. And there was one thing I learned in there that I thought that was so valuable, and I use this today. Only build rapport on the topics you're an expert on. If you don't know shit about hunting, do not talk about hunting. If you don't know anything about certain movie, if you don't know anything about whatever, Wisconsin, do not talk about Wisconsin. Only talk about things that you're an expert at. So if someone talks to me about MMA, football, comedy, music, rappers, whatever the case is, I feel like I have a lot of expertise in like random topics. We can sit there and talk about it.
What you're saying is you're an expert in football, so will the Indianapolis Colts cover the minus 10 points this weekend, sir? You said you're the expert, so I'm calling you out on it.
I think we're not going to cover. I think we're going to win. I don't think we're going to cover. I think it'll be like a 7-8 point game. It's a divisional game. Trevor Lawrence is good. You know, they got a good win last week. I don't know. I don't know if they'll cover. I had the Ravens covering yesterday.
I had to jump on that.
I know. I'm just gonna say I had the Ravens covering yesterday, and that did not go well as well. So we're on to not a good streak right now. But either way, expert. Like that's the biggest thing. A lot of times I've seen this. This guy starts talking about hunting, and the person on the call, the sales guy, knows nothing about hunting. He starts talking, and you're losing the sale. Like you're literally losing the sale. You haven't even talked about the product, the service that you're selling, but because you sound so idiotic about this topic, they're like, this guy doesn't know anything about hunting. What are the odds he knows anything about Facebook ads?
Yeah, well, now we're talking about authenticity, right? I mean, be authentic about it. Let's
100%
relate, or let's make sure we relate.
Exactly. Make sure you relate. If they're like, no, I'm not a Colts fan. I'm like, okay, let's move on. I'm not gonna be like, oh man, I went to the Colts game, blah, blah, blah. If you don't want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it. And this is one other thing. Do not force building rapport. I think everybody's like, I have to build rapport every call. No, you don't. Some people don't want to. Some people literally are very introverted. They literally do not want to talk to you about their personal life. And I hear this. I've seen this. I hear this. And people force building rapport. It's like, bro, how I found out about this is when I was driving Uber and I asked some people to come in my book, and some people were like, "F you. I don't want to give you any advice. I'm not gonna be like, no, you have to give me advice. Give me advice now. I need advice." I'm not gonna force that. If you don't want to give it to me, I'm not gonna do it. So it's the same thing with sales. I'm not gonna force building rapport if you don't want to talk. If you don't want to have a conversation, you want to just jump in, no worries, let's do it. I go, like I said in the very beginning, I go as you go, not as I go. Even though I'm dictating the pace, I'm dictating how everything's going, but I'm really going based on how you want me to sell you. How do you want me to sell you? Oh, you don't want to build rapport? No worries. Oh, you do want to build rapport and talk about the Colts? Let's do it. So hopefully that's really it. I mean, obviously I have more, but I want to make sure that I covered the 3 topics that you asked me to, which was follow up, personal branding.
You nailed the 3 topics. Now I'm going to take you through the lightning round. So buckle up, brother. The best advice you've ever received.
Man, honestly, it was the very first person that commented on this. And she's like, I asked her, I was like, do you think I was thinking about doing this for weeks, if not months. And then I asked this lady, I was like, do you think it's a good idea? And she literally just went off. She's like, you need to follow your heart, and everybody's gonna figure out what your purpose is, go all in. Whenever you question things that are positive, do it. Don't question yourself. You could have gotten amazing advice from 2 weeks prior, but you waited 2 weeks for me to get it. So it's literally the very first person that ever wrote in here was the best advice I ever got. And then obviously
when did the person write that advice in that book? And by the way, big kudos to you for your thirst for knowledge while you were working, while you were earning your ability to live in the United States. You were working hard. I mean, driving around a bunch of people with attitudes is not necessarily a fun thing to do, but you were personable and you actually extracted value. Your thirst for knowledge extracted value. The reason why this speaks to my heart is every time, and ask Chase on here, when I'm in an Uber or something like that, and now I'm like, let me see your phone, download Coinbase, okay? I'm going to be giving you a $20 tip today. I want to see you buy $20 worth of Bitcoin because I want you to start right now. And they just came to this country 4 months ago, that kind of stuff.
That's amazing.
So I love the fact that you did this, but what year did someone write in that book?
That was April 17th, 2017. So that was almost like a year and a half before all of this craziness happened.
So did anybody in 2017 or 18 write in your book and say, buy Bitcoin?
No, almost nobody. Honestly, I actually went through it. People told me about real estate and they told me about stocks, but nobody, I'll have to go through it again, but nobody told me to buy Bitcoin. Not that I don't remember having this conversation. If we want to talk about Bitcoin, I bought, and Anton, he has a very long last name. He was on Joe Rogan many times. I bought his book in 2017. 2017, I bought his book. Didn't buy Bitcoin. 2018, didn't buy Bitcoin. 2019, didn't buy Bitcoin. 2020, I'm in Colombia, Medellin. Bitcoin, after COVID, drops to 4K. My best friend hits me up, dude, you need to buy it. It's $4,000 right now. I'm like, dude, let me wait till it's 3,800. Let me wait till it's 3,700. Never gets to that. I wait. That point, this is the biggest, I don't live with regrets, but there's things that I'm like, such an idiot sometimes. I had $30,000 liquid I could have easily spent, and if I lost it, I would have been 100% fine. $30,000 easily I could have bought back then with Bitcoin. Today would have been over $600,000, $700,000. And now I do own Bitcoin, I do own crypto. I'm in crypto. I made a lot of money this past year, but just looking at it last year, this is what it is.
So
nobody.
Congratulations that you've actually done well on that. And so, back to this real quick, and we're going to wrap up here, but back to this thing where people are writing your advice. Patty asked a good question. Did they tell you the advice and then you went back and wrote it in the journal, or did you hand them the journal to write their entry?
I literally handed them the journal. So I have some people have crappy handwriting, so I can't really read it, but every person I would have a conversation, and then I'm like, hey, I'm doing something kind of random. I don't think you've ever seen this, any Uber driver does this, but I'm actually 22. I don't really have a direction in life. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm asking for advice from literally anyone and anyone. I would ask for advice from gas station workers, from people that work in the supermarket. I didn't care, because everybody has a story, and I think everybody at some point had a chance to do something, and whether you did something with it or not is up to you. But I think in the US, especially in the USA, best country in the world to live in, most opportunity, American money, everybody wants to live here. I think everybody had a chance to do something, and it's a matter of, did you do it or did you just hear about it? So
I think everyone's child can learn from what you just talked about right now, sir. That is absolutely genius. Look at everybody in the comments here. Bright idea. You followed through. That was a brilliant idea. It was awesome. It was awesome. I'm very impressed with that. Now, a book that you would recommend to this audience and why?
I like to talk about my most recent reads, because those are the most freshest. Now, I don't know, Damien, if you're familiar with Alex Hormozi. You familiar with Alex Hormozi?
Chase actually mentioned it.
Beautiful. He wrote a book called The $100 Million Offer. So Alex Hormozi is the #1 digital marketing agency owner in our industry, as far as we know. By far, nobody even comes close to him. He's done over $100 million in sales in about 3 years. We actually got personally mentored by him. He started a software company, he has a supplement company. When you talk about going all in on a niche, not only did he service gyms and got running ads for them, he actually opened gyms. He opened facilities. He traveled to all these gyms to learn about different areas and how to help people lose weight. And then he started his own protein company, started his own training program. I mean, literally everything you can think of within gyms, he went all in. So this book specifically talks about mastering the perfect offer. And I'll do one thing with it too. My biggest takeaway was everybody has an amazing offer, but most people don't have amazing bonuses to kind of bump up the offer. And I realized that was with me. I have a really good offer, but I'm like, man, I need to create some bonuses. So I literally sat down and I wrote some bonuses. And all it does is it creates more value for your product. It doesn't have to be, you have to sit there and do a 95-hour course. But even creating some sort of a course, something extra to help your clients, it's huge. So my biggest takeaway was whatever offer you have, add bonuses to it. But what's really cool about this book is that he goes about it by, you get to know him. So a lot of you guys probably don't know who he is. And then he talks about his story, making hundreds of millions of dollars in this space, to how to create the perfect offer. And he literally gives you, if you don't have a good offer, he gives you all these incredible ideas about how to actually craft the perfect offer. And on top of that, I'm gonna give him one more shout out. In my opinion, he has the best YouTube channel for our industry. So personal development, he posts videos, they're 5 to 10 minute videos about retention, client acquisition, whatever it is. And he's not a coach, by the way. His business model, he actually talks about it here. He doesn't want to coach. He actually buys businesses. He's so next level. He acquires businesses that are doing no less than $3 to $5 million a year, and he takes them to 10 to 20, 30 million. So his whole business model, he's the Shark Tank within our industry, where most people are like, I'm going to coach you, take your money, and then I'll try my best to figure it out. He doesn't do that.
So a technology or tool other than your own that you use that you'd recommend for this follow-up stuff, because you definitely flashed through a few different technologies there.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram. Those two are my favorite. The reason is those are the two that I can see your personal life.
And any tools for the videos? Any tools for the videos or any of that stuff?
See, this is where people overcomplicate it. Literally, if you have an iPhone, you can literally just scroll, make a video, or audio. Sometimes if you're outside, out and about, I'll send an audio. But it needs to be a little bit more clear than just a message. Hey, thank you so much for your time. We'll chat tomorrow. It literally needs to be a message. What did you guys talk about? What are the objections? And then plant the seed that, hey, I'm going to be there no matter what. The other thing is, I didn't mention this, every single person that books a call with me gets 6 reminders, 3 through text, 3 through email, 1 hour before, both on email and text, so 24 hours before, 1 hour before, and 10 minutes before.
All right.
They email and text. So
solid. All right, man. Well, this has been incredible. I want to be respectful of your time, and I do want to have you back on again. Would you be willing to come back on again and go a little bit deeper in any of these directions?
Yeah, I'd love to go deeper about what I do now, because I think people are probably like, what do you do now? I'm going to go deeper. I told you this, Damien, when we talked a couple days ago. I was like, I am not coming here to pitch anything. I just want these people to get to know me, provide some sort of value. Maybe if I can just help one person, is how many people I have right now? There's over 60. If I can just help one person get an extra sale, keep an extra client, whatever else, my mission succeeded. That was my whole intention. And then maybe next time I come back and talk a little bit about what I'm doing now.
All right, Omer, what's your Instagram?
It's my first name and last name, Omer Bloch, OMER BLOCH.
BLOCH. All right, everybody, I'm putting him on there. And are you Omer Bloch on Facebook as well?
I am. Yep.
Right.
It should be. Yep.
Omar, listen, man, I am super impressed. And, I started off by calling you a junior entrepreneur, and I hope that you don't take that offensive. You are right in the middle age of our children, right? Our oldest is one who it's 32, and our youngest is 19, and you're right smack in the middle. So to me, you're a junior entrepreneur. And I'll tell you what, like what you did, and I think that it's inspiring. Let's mute real quick on your end there. It's inspiring for folks that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s. Yeah? Is anybody on here inspired today? Give me a show of hands. 60s. Let me know in the chat. This is inspiring because no matter whether you're 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s, a lot of the same common things hold us back. And sometimes young entrepreneurs, they just rip the Band-Aids off and they just go out and jump in the deep end. And that's what I absolutely love about the inspiration that you delivered today. And hopefully folks that were on today not only wrote down a bunch of strategies for follow-up, because the money is in the follow-up, but man, your Omni follow-up tactics were absolutely killer. Selling 300 clients, everybody that's on here knows what it takes to land a client, especially a client at $24,000 a year commitment, or even month to month, a $2,000 a month commitment. In the medical, well, let's call it quasi-medical field. You proved today that if you pick a niche that you can get comfortable in, you can win in it. You proved to folks that you can get super excited paying $500 a deal or 30%. We also talked a little bit about recurring revenue and stuff like that. So thank you so much for all your sharing. If you'd like, go ahead and say some final words to everybody. And then before we let you off, I want everybody to give you a big warm sign off. We'd love to give you a big hug on your way out on audio. But go ahead and say any final words.
Yeah, so you mentioned that everybody here is probably older. I'm a junior. I'm not taking any offense to that. So I'm assuming a lot of you guys have kids here. The biggest thing, and I'll say this again because, man, I really think I'd be so much further along my journey if I had the right support team. I had to do all this stuff by myself. I had to figure out everything out by myself. I went out of my way to attract the people. So if your kids do not have direction, they don't know what they're doing, you need to come up with solutions outside of just doing the if you guys are here, I already know you guys are next level, not thinking like, oh, you have to go the formal route and go get educated and all that good stuff. Not saying that's a bad route, but if the kid doesn't want to do that, have them sit down with them and figure out what is it that they like to do and how can you help them? How can you best support them? They need to make sure that you have their back. And that's really my biggest thing is like, I want to help the youth in ways that I didn't get it. Yeah, I'm blessed. Me and my parents we do have a good relationship. I just wish that they saw what I'm doing now 10 years ago when I didn't have any of this stuff. When I was 16 years old, I was lost in this world and I had no money. I was broke. And there was times where I'd go home and my mom's like, you need money. And to me, that's like the biggest offense. Like, don't ask me if I need money. I'll find ways of getting money, right? But be an optimist when it comes to your children. Don't be a pessimist. And if I can do anything to help them with motivating them, if they are looking for work, you can connect me with them. I actually find people jobs. So that's my last thing. So
awesome, man. Well, everybody go ahead and unmute and let's give our man Omer Bloch a proper GoMobile sign off, everybody.
Thank you, Omer. Great job.
Awesome.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Amazing stuff. Thank you so much.
Hey, brother.
You rock.
Good job. Keep up the good work.
Great job.
Excellent.
Thanks, man.
This guy is going to be your next billionaire. You watch. He's got such an early start. If he just keeps on this path, he's going to be somebody you're going to see in the news, if not sooner than that. So thank you so much, Omer. I really appreciate it.
thank you, Damien. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin, for also joining us. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you, Chase and Kim, for introducing us to Omer. Really, really appreciate that. You had Dad's back here. You brought us a solid. I think everybody here confirmed that for you as well. So those of you that want to save the chat, go ahead and do that now. Guys, thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this. Went a little bit over here, but you know what? I enjoyed every last minute of that. I love when we can get inspired by our youth. And I just hope that if this is something that your children, your adult children need to see, make that happen. Reach out to support and make that happen, okay? Now, here's the deal. We love these happy hours, so we're gonna not disappoint. Next week, we're back again, Friday, with Owen Video. YouTube strategies, YouTube expert. Who wants to learn about YouTube? We'll see you next Friday. And you know what? We're not gonna stop there. We're going right into the Black Friday, right? Because we know that you guys really don't wanna be out there bumping masks and shopping carts together, right? You'd rather be watching one of these happy hours. So I've got some amazing stuff happening towards the end of the month. It's gonna be busy November. What's up? And we are still very much celebrating in the GoMobile community because there's apps being submitted every single day. So congratulations to all of you that are selling apps for thousands of dollars. I'm super pumped by all the success that we've seen. Keep it up, and we'll see you next week. Love you guys. Go mobile or go home. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great weekend.